Welcome to Sideways Look, looking where others don't. I'm Dr. Paul. Last week, we explored whether America needs a third party and who benefits from the system we have now. But this week, we're zooming in on one party in particular, and that's the Democrats. While headlines spotlight Trump's growing legal saga, including the recent fallout from his allies' involvement in mishandling of the Epstein files, and the Trump administration celebrates its latest sweeping legislation, what some call the Big Beautiful Bill. Another story is unfolding beneath the surface. Democrats are losing connection with the very voters who once powered their victories. So today, we're asking, why are key Democratic voters slipping away? And what would it take to bring them back and others? Let's take a sideways look. Key parts of the Democratic coalitions are drifting or dropping out entirely. Those Democratic coalitions are young voters, Black men, Latinos, working class folks across all backgrounds, even loyal independents. Many aren't switching to red. They're no longer feeling blue either. Just last week, former President Barack Obama issued a rare and pointed warning. Speaking at a private DNC fundraiser in New Jersey, he urged Democrats to stop whining and start organizing. He said this: it's going to require a little bit less navel gazing and a little less whining and being in fetal positions. And it's going to require Democrats to just toughen up. Ouch. So, who are the disillusioned? They're not MAGA. They're not moderate Republicans. They're the voters who once believed then but didn't see the follow through. These are the Gen Zs. They showed up in 2020 and 2024. Gen Zs were passionate about climate, student debt, and racial justice. But many now say the party feels reactive instead of bold, and the big promises have stalled. Gen Zs came with digitally savviness, increasingly saying democratic actions feels symbolic to them, not structured. According to Pew Research June 2025, only 38% of Gen Z voters say they feel represented by either party. Now that's a shame. Latino voters. These are the largest non-white voting groups in the US. They feel more nuisance than ever. They are facing economic mobility, religious values on the line, and immigration enforcement matters to them. But for Latinos, democratic outreach often treats Latinos as monolith. Latino voters are shifting noticeably in key battleground states. In Texas, in Florida, GOP has real gains. Polling from Univision shows that Latino support for Democrats dropped from 71% in 2020 to 59% in 2024. Democrats, this is a wake-up call. Let's look at Black men. Despite record turnout in 2008 and again in 2020, many young Black men feel unseen and unheard. Police reform that has stalled. Economic mobility, for them, still elusive. The message for them from the Democrats, we vote blue, so why hasn't anything changed? Black men, particularly young ones, are voicing growing frustration. In cities like Detroit, Philadelphia, and Atlanta, in 2024, the turnout dropped by 7% compared to 2020. What about the progressives? Regardless of age or race, they're also wary and feel too often compromises with that the Democrats compromises with corporate donors and backs away from bold reforms. Folks, this is a common thread. See, a party that talks at them but doesn't always listen to them. So maybe there's a message lost in all of the noise. Democrats often lead on policy, such as healthcare, student debt relief, climate initiatives, but lose on messaging. Why? So the bottom line, Democrats often have better policy, and those are often on paper. But guess what? Paper doesn't vote. People do. So you need to listen. They're always protecting democracy. For example, what if your rent went up $400? That's not going to pay the bill. Again, policies. Fighting climate change. For Black men, it feels distant because when you cannot make up your groceries bills, when groceries now cost 30% more. For example, slogans, diversity and inclusion. For Black men, that falls short because there's nothing attached to the message that helps them in the long run. A July 2025 Axios poll found that 58% of working class voters feel neither party addresses their daily economic struggles, despite legislation aimed at these exact voters. Voters want a steady message for the time that they're living in, one that basically relates to their need. They need a message of consistency. Too often, the message or issue that the Democrat is attempting to convey, the voters are not heard. So, in short, voters want dignity, not just representation. They want outcomes, not just outrage. So, is there a lesson to be learned? There are lessons. You see, some Democrats have already making great progress. And in showing, these showings have been at the ballot box. Take, for example, in Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmire focused on issues like roads, school funding, and reproductive access. In 2024, she won re-election by a margin of 10 points. It's not much, but still she won. In Pennsylvania, John Fetterman, he campaigned on union halls. He wore hoodies in diners and talked about factory jobs, healthcare, and opioid addiction. He won. He flipped counties where Biden lost. In Arizona, Representative Ruben Gallego bridged Latino voters, veterans, progressives, and independents. His 2024 Senate win, it actually helped Democrats hold the chamber. These leaders didn't just talk blue, they went where the people were and delivered where it counted. In closing, if Democrats want to win not just elections, they need to trust. They must do more than issuing policy on white paper or trying to win Twitter debates. They have to speak plainly. They need to stick and stand with a message of consistency, one that must resonate to the disillusioned. They need to stop talking to the voters, the undecided, the Gen Z, like David Hogg. I truly think that this was a missed opportunity for Democrats. His youthfulness, he's an activist, he's an organizer, and certainly a new voice that an opportunity should have been given to as the DNC vice chair position. For Latinos and young black men who already feel disowned and taken advantage of by this party. Second, they need to stop attaching irrelevant issues or in acts of desperation just for the sake of winning. And in the end, they fail miserably because we cannot be the party running for all causes. Democrats need to show up. A candidate that is in touch, not just one that is out of touch. They need to back promises with tangible results. They must take an oath of loyalty. Why do I say that? Because, let's face it, Democrats are not loyal to their own party. They would just like, if they would just look at the opposition party and see their loyalty to their party. Because if the party that claims to fight for the marginalized can't even hold onto the disillusion, then what are they truly fighting for? This is my quote. To truly win, Democrats must recognize what's holding them down and have the courage to leave it behind. Until next time, I'm Dr. Paul, and this has been Sideways Look.